I had 90 seconds. I took 9 photographs. It changed my life.
This episode, we chat with photographer Andy Gotts. He has spent over 30 years capturing famous faces. His signature style has led to sessions with Meryl Streep, George Clooney, Robert De Niro, and Kate Winslet, to name a few. Join us as he shares with us his creative journey, from a brave question at a Q&A to raising over $100 million for charity with his work. Enjoy.
The whole dynamic now is completely different. I could not start my career today and be successful now. It's too late now. That boat's sailed. Now people have to figure out a different way to be successful now. It can't be through latching on to. I mean, there's a famous saying about standing on the shoulders of giants, which is exactly what I did. I've got all these icons of movies and music, and I use them to boost my career. And people said about Annie Leibovitz in the 70s, Annie's only famous because of who she shoots, and I fall into that category. I'm well known because of who I shoot, not what I shoot. And I think now a newcomer trying to get a D-list celebrity is hard work.
It is indeed.
So trying to get someone, a massive megastar, you need a portfolio of work. You need this dynamic of work you've done to be taken seriously, to be put forward, for them to be considered.
Yeah.
So people now trying to do my career, near enough impossible. Near enough absolutely impossible. It's a shame.
And hence we talk today.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers indeed. It's lovely to meet you. I'm going to challenge that though, what you just said, from being known for who you shoot rather than what you shoot. I think it's a combination of both.
Well, I mean, there are so many factors in photography that make a photographer good or bad or indifferent or whatever. And I see it as, I'm asked all the time, what's your secret? What was it? How have you? How has someone from Norfolk, who came from a family of generations of farmers and milkmen, how you've escaped that to then become, and that literally there are 7 people in the world that do exactly what I do. So people call me a celebrity photographer, then they throw Rankin in the mix or Bailey in the mix or all the other. But all these guys are great. I know. We've got a little club. We all know each other. We all know each other, for God's sake. But every single person I shoot is a famous person.
Yes.
Rankin, he shoots fashion. He shoots advertising. He shoots models. Bailey, the same. Most photographers who are known, they do the fashion element that have unknown fashion models. But every time I go click, it's a famous person I'm photographing every single time.
It is.
I've not deviated. I've been asked to. But my selling point is twofold. I only photograph famous people, and I never edit. I don't retouch. I don't do that. And I think that's my proudest thing, that I don't edit my work. So when I go click, what I've captured on film or a memory card or whatever, that moment I've captured is the final image. It's not how clever I am next week on Photoshop. It's not how creative. I don't take that image home and try to make it spectacular and flawless. That's not photography. Henri Cartier-Bresson, who founded Magnum, he said, you have the decisive moment. You decide, as a photographer, when you go click, you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you capture the moment. And that moment you capture is the moment. That 1/2 of a second, that moment you capture is the moment. So that is what I show. It's not the tweaking and liquefying and skin softening, and that's not what I do. I mean, I'll give it a perfect example. It's a Brad Pitt example. So I first met Brad Pitt in 2005. Mm-hmm. And he was doing the movie Troy at the time. A lot of it was shot in Malta and around those regions. A lot of green screen was done in Shepperton and Pinewood. And so we arranged to do a photo shoot for our first meeting. And so it was at Pinewood. And in Pinewood, there is this big empty room called the Orangery, which they use for meetings and stuff. And it's perfect. It's this long atrium, empty. There's nothing. There's a very long, empty room. And on the Monday, Annie Leibovitz was there to do a Vanity Fair cover shoot. The Tuesday, I was there. I was doing him for my book degrees. And so we were in the same room. And because of the way Pinewood work, we had to use the same lighting because they ship in the lighting themselves. Yeah. So, same room, same lighting, Monday and Tuesday. On the Monday, Annie was there with a team of 1,000 people. Literally wall-to-wall people, steaming clothes, getting makeup ready, getting their hair dryers ready. They're retouching team in the corner. So there's the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Day 2 is Andy in the camera.
Yeah.
And so when Brad knocked at my door on the Tuesday, I opened the door, he looked over my shoulder, saw no one there. And he said, I've come for the shoot. I said, yes, Brad, I'm waiting for you. He went, oh, you're Andy? I said, yeah. He said, you answered the door yourself? I said, yes, I can open a door, Brad. It's
totally enough.
it's quite easy. And he couldn't get his head around. I did everything. There was no team. I have no assistants, nothing. So I set up the lights. I set up everything. So, and he couldn't get his head around. Mm. I did everything. And then the day before, assistants had assistants the day before. And it was a bit of a circus. So I done the shoot. And we got on so amazingly well. And then we arranged, I go, well, how about we meet in a couple of weeks' time for a coffee. You bring Annie's shot, I'll bring my shot, and we'll compare. Because it's like literally 24 hours difference. So he was there armed with Annie's shot. I was there armed with my shot. We met at the Wolseley, it's on Piccadilly. And we sat there. He opened his little folio of Annie's, opened my folio of mine, put them side by side. And he looked. And he studied. And he said, Andy, can you see the difference? I said, I can see the difference. What do you see? Yeah. He said, well, in your shot, I look like me. In Annie's shot, that's how I looked 10 years ago. And he said, both shots are great. He said, both shots are amazing. Yeah. But I'm happy with how I look. But some magazines want to present actors as a slimmer, younger version of themselves. Whereas in my shots, it's how they look. That's exactly how, and I think that is why I have got a career. Yeah. Because if I did Photoshop and do that whole thing, I'd fall in the genre of photographer that photograph OK magazine, Hello magazine, heavily retouched, even Vanity Fair and Vogue, heavily retouched. But there are so many photographers do that, they're all nameless. Yeah. You could pick up a front cover of Vogue tomorrow and see this amazing front cover of, let's say, Scarlett Johansson, for example. Unless you look into the credits, who took the photograph, you don't know. They're one of 100 photographers who do exactly that. I stick out because I don't do that.
Yeah.
You see spots, you see hair everywhere, you see the real person, you see
I think
who they are.
You put humanity back into celebrity.
I mean, Stephen Fry said it beautifully. He said, I show the beauty of the ugliness of the skin, which is true. And actually, the best quote I use so many times by Ringo Starr, there's a very famous photographer called Ansel Adams who photographed the landscapes of America, the Yosemite Valley and the...
I've read his book.
Yeah, I mean, Ansel Adams is just this amazing photographer, and he does... I think he's known for Yosemite Park, where he photographs the mountains. You can see, even though he's like a mile away, you see every rock, every wrinkle, every tree.
Yeah.
And Ringo said that Andy Gotts is the Ansel Adams of faces. And it's true. When I do a picture, you can see every pore in the skin, every blackhead, every eyelash. You can see everything. And nothing's hidden, nothing's softened. Everything is exactly how that person looks. And I think in 100 years' time, if someone goes, okay, they Google my work, or whatever the equivalent is back then, and they say, okay, so on this day in history, so the 9th of January 2008, this picture of Al Pacino is exactly how he looked.
Yeah.
You can't get a front cover of a magazine and say the same thing. You can't get a Vanity Fair because that's a retouched version of Al Pacino. So my work is actually an historic record of how these faces actually look.
Yeah.
So some people, like Kate Moss, for example, and I love Kate Moss, and she's when you meet people in life, you want them to be how you imagine them to be. And so I met Kate Moss at where she lives, in Islington, or Highgate. Opened the front door, 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning, with a glass of white wine and a fag. That's how I want Kate Moss to be.
It is, yeah.
That's how I see Kate Moss. She is like this Joanna Lumley from Absolutely Fabulous. She's this uber figure. And so I'd done this picture of Kate, and it's the first untouched photograph of herself she'd seen. Because normally she's shown approval pictures that she has to sign off. They've all been all jazzily. My one was raw Kate Moss, and she kind of teared up. And she said, "This is exactly how my daughter sees me." And she said, "That's why this is important. This is how my daughter sees me." And I think that's probably the biggest compliment I've ever had. And I think that's why I do it, because you're showing, whether it's a great model or a great musician or an amazing actor, this is how they look. It's not how a corporation has said, "This is how we want you to see them." It's me saying, "Hey, this is how they look." And they're happy and they're proud, and they give me the green flags. Actually, no one else does that.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got this thing.
Was that style something you stumbled upon, or has that been at the core of everything since the first time you picked up?
I think, I think it's when I first started. So we're going back like over 35 years ago. I mean, you weren't even born. You weren't even born then. I mean, just to rein it all the way back in.
Yeah.
So I was a student, and so what happened was there was a brand new course started called a BTEC. A BTEC. What's a BTEC? A BTEC is 2 A levels and an O level. Oh wow, that's a BTEC. So the first ever BTEC happened. And it's a BTEC in photography, and it was, and they're guinea pigging this course in Norfolk and King's Lynn.
Right.
And they tried to find 15 people in Europe to guinea pig this course. Stephen Fry was a megastar at the time. He was doing Blackadder, Jeeves and Wooster, a bit of Fry and Laurie. He's getting like 28 million viewers per show. He's a megastar. So one day he came to my college to hand out the diplomas.
Yeah.
And I, through a bit of negotiation, found out where he'd be. The room next door, I put up a backdrop and got some lights and a camera, and I went to his Q&A that lasted hours. But he talked and he talked and talked. And so I was there just listening, and I was right at the back just listening, but I didn't get a seat because I wasn't an important person. So I was right at the back. And then the Q&A started, and I put my hand up. Yeah, be a boy at the back. As Mr. Fry, I'm a student here doing photography. Please can I do a portrait of you after your Q&A next door. Yeah. And a car waiting, would you be quick? Yes, sir, I promise you I'll be really quick. And after his Q&A, he honoured it. He came next door with me. I had 90 seconds. I took 9 photographs. It changed my life. That eureka moment, I thought, actually, that all made sense. Mm-hmm. I had this megastar listening to me, doing what I told him to do, and he'd done them without questioning. He just done what I asked him to do, and we captured this one roll of film, and every single shot is amazing. And I was like, well, that's my calling. That's it. And so then 1990, that was the relevance. And to answer your question, it was seeing a roll of film, and this is the heartbreak. I give talks now into university students who don't know what film is, because it's all digital now. Yeah. But back then, there wasn't digital back then. There wasn't even smart cameras. All we had was film. So look at this reel of 9 shots, and every single shot was an unedited, unfiltered, raw shot, and every single one looked epic. And I thought, well, if I can do that, not knowing what I'm doing, when I do know what I'm doing, this could be a moneymaker. Yeah. I had work experience at the end of my second year, and I worked with David Bailey for my last part of work experience. Wow. And I went to his shoots, and they were like 5-6 hours long.
Oh, jeez.
And there was like a team of people, and everything took so long, and it was all so hard, and there's so many people who were trying to do so much at once, and I watched this circus happening, and I said to myself, when I do this, there will be no circus. It'll be just me, and it'll be quick. Yeah. It won't be hours. It'll be minutes. Yeah. And so I built myself as a photographer that could do an entire photo shoot in 15 minutes.
Find it hard to believe it would be straight into this celebrity, that celebrity.
Yeah. But actually it was. That's why my career is impossible.
Yeah.
No one can do my career because the luck element. Yeah. My career hasn't been skill related. Yeah. It's been luck related, and that's what I say to lots of. I shot Stephen Fry.
Yes.
These 9 shots, and so I had these 9 shots of Stephen Fry. It wasn't me being a clever photographer, because I wasn't. I was a stupid student who didn't know what I was doing. Stephen has got this broken nose. Yeah. A shadow, a fluke of nature, a shadow went across the break. You couldn't see the break. And so he loved the shot. Yeah. He said, I love that picture. And he said, will you do me a 10x8, love? And of course, so literally, whilst he was still there at the college doing this diploma thing, whilst he was still talking, but he talked for hours, I had time to print a 10 by 8. Yeah. So by the time he left for his car, I'd had a 10 by 8 in an envelope to say, Stephen, there we go. Yeah. So he literally went home via a framing shop, bought a 10 by 8 frame, framed it whilst going back home, and literally, as soon as he opened the front door, popped it on his mantelpiece. That Sunday, his best mate came over for Sunday lunch, Kenneth Branagh.
Oh my goodness.
He was doing a movie called Peter's Friends that Stephen was starring in. And Kenneth came in, oh darling, that's a lovely picture. Who did that? Bailey? He didn't say that at all. Who's that picture? And Steve says, oh, a local student. Oh, he says, you look amazing. Do you have his phone number? And he said, well, I've got a phone number for his halls of residence. So the one day, I was in my room, in my halls of residence, and someone downstairs was shouting, "Oi, God, Kenneth Branagh's on the phone." Yeah, right. So then I eventually got to the phone, and it was Kenneth Branagh. And he said, Andy, this is Kenneth Branagh. I'm in Highgate. I've seen Stephen's shot. It's lovely. Do you want to come to my house in Highgate and shoot me and my wife, Emma Thompson? We're here, and we'd both love a picture taken by you, please. I'd passed my driving test 2 weeks before. And so I was in King's Lynn in Norfolk. They were in London, in Highgate. And I said, okay, if you can say a day you're free, I'll get there at some point because I'll be driving. I drove 40 miles an hour from Norfolk to Highgate. And I parked in the first drive. I didn't care whose house it was. I wanted to get out of my car. I was sweating. So I parked in a drive. I knew it was the right road. They gave me the road address, but I was parked. So I parked the car, got the car, sweating, shaking. This very old, unhappy man ran out of this house and, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you parked on my drive? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I was nearly in tears, saying, I've just driven from Norfolk for 4 hours trying to find Kenneth Branagh's house. I don't know what I'm doing or anything. And these guys started laughing. He said, oh, well, I know Kenny. I said, okay. And he said, if you wish, you can park here and I will, you can park here as long as you wish. I'll walk you down to Ken's house on the condition after you photograph me afterwards. I said, okay, well, don't you recognise me? I said, no, sir. Well, when I was there with Jacoby, I'm an actor. I'm currently the prime time actor on TV doing Cadfile, the monk detective. I'm on 3 times a week. You haven't seen me? I said, sir, I said, no. But that, I said, yeah. I said, he said, actually, I know the Stephen connection. I'm in that movie, Peter's Friends 2. So he went, okay, great. So I went down to Ken's house. Derek Jacoby walked me down. They all know each other because they're all actor lovies. They all know each other. And they live on the same street. And they're all having a big laugh. Yeah. And so I shot Ken first, but that's why I was there. I shot Ken. Then I shot Emma. And then I shot Derek. And Ken said, can we do some other things? So Ken came back. So Derek and Emma were talking about me whilst I was shooting Ken again. Yeah. I can hear my name being mentioned. And then the shoot finished, the second shoot finished. And Derek wanted to say, oh, I didn't realize you're a new student and you've come over just to shoot Ken and Em. Yeah. I said, yes, sir. That's exactly why I'm here, because I've shot Stephen Fry, and I've ended up in this scenario. He said, oh, do you want anyone else before you go home? I said, okay. I mean, it's a 4-hour drive home. So if there's anyone else, well, do you know Bob Hoskins? I said, yes, I know Bob. I mean, growing up, Bob Hoskins was one of these people. You always saw Bob on TV programs or movies. Bob he always popped up. I said, yeah, and he said, yeah, I've just done a thing with Bob. If you want, I'll call him now and see on the way back, he needs to pop in. So he literally from their house phone called Bob. And Bob said, actually, no, he said, it's all right, I'll pop round. So he, to save me driving anymore, he came round to Ken and Em's house, done another portrait. And so there was Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson, Derek Jacobi, Bob Hoskins, and me.
And photography student.
All sat there. All thinking it was great that I came down. And then Bob said, so, he said, so, do you want me to pass you on to someone? I said, well, not today. I just want to go home. I'm tired.
Yeah.
He said, no. If you want to, I can give your information to someone I've just worked with, and then you can come back, or you can arrange something. It's Helen Bonham Carter. And
That's my favourite photographer.
And he just he said, I can arrange it, and then at some point we need you both free, and that is how, and that comes back to my first point. That could never happen now, because now every actor goes through their own ring of steel. Every actor has a publicist, a manager, an agent who talk to. It's like the other day, I was speaking to Ringo Starr, because I've known Ringo for years. We're like really close friends.
Yeah.
And Paul McCartney popped up in conversation.
Yeah.
Ringo doesn't speak directly to Paul. Ringo speaks to his assistant via Paul's assistant, goes to Paul. So even though they grew up together and they were lads together, they grew up with but that is how every single actor works now. Any actor you speak to, let's pick an actor out of the air. Let's say Robert Downey Jr. Let's say Benedict Cumberbatch. Let's say Eddie Redmayne. Any of these young actors, when they speak to another actor, they speak to their team, not directly. And that's the sad part. The dynamic of we're all buddies working together has come, okay, we're all buddies, but I'm going to talk to you via somebody else. That kind of thing. So, as I said, it started with Stephen, and then I had probably 4 or 5 years photographing a speckling of really famous people.
Yeah.
But it was a speckling.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a weekly thing or monthly thing. It was like an occasional thing. But each one was a known person. Every single one. And then I thought, well, actually, this isn't enough. I don't want to sell out and do magazine covers because they will then dictate how the cover looks. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a book, my own book. And I'm going to have a really thick book, cover to cover, A-list people, my style of portraits. How do I do that? And there wasn't an answer.
No.
So I went to my local library in Norfolk, and there is a book called a Spotlight book. And the Spotlight book is a directory, has a little picture of the actor and their contact details, how you can contact this famous person.
The IMDb pro of the day.
It literally is the IMDb database, but in book form.
Yeah.
And you read like A to D, and then a whole thing of books. And I spent a week with the directories, going through, literally leafing you the pages. Oh, yeah, that's a good actor, and they kind of okay, Hamilton Hodel. That's okay. There's ICM, and so I made a wish list of 300 actors I want to photograph.
This is resonating so much. I've got my dream list.
So I actually had my wish list of 3, and so back then I didn't have a computer. 300 handwritten letters to 300 actors via their agents.
Yeah.
I literally had the envelopes, went to my post box, posted them through. And so I literally, I was waiting with a big Cheshire grin, cat smile. Okay, I'm going to have 300 yeses. I'm going to have 300 people saying, "Ooh, I can't wait to be photographed of you, Andy Gotts." And I waited. No, there was no letters back. Then all of a sudden, one letter come back. And I was in the corner, Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee. Dracula.
Yeah.
And I opened it up, and inside this envelope was a white postcard with the letters typed, "Thank you, but no." That's all it was on this postcard.
So classy.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Thank you, but no, and then Christopher Lee signed underneath. And that was my only response from 300 letters.
Yeah.
And then, and to say your heart sinks, and so it's like now when people speak to me about stuff, I say you really need a really thick skin, you really need it, and it's correct. But then, 8 months later, a phone call.
Yeah.
Not to me, to my parents. You know, but they have a mobile phone number in the 80s.
Yeah.
The phone number. So I gave them my parents' home phone number. And the actor Joss Ackland, who had just done Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson, he was the South African baddie. He was the baddie, the big bad guy in this movie. Said, "This is Joss Ackland, actor. I've got your letter. Hate being photographed. Loathe being photographed. But my son's getting married. If you come down to Devon and photograph my son's wedding, at the end of the day, I'll give you a portrait session." And I thought, what the bloody hell do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? So literally, from Norfolk to Devon is a 6-hour drive. I mean, it's literally a day's drive getting there. It's like me going to Inverness. Yeah. A day's drive to get to Clovelly in Devon. Yeah. Drove down to Clovelly, and they lived in this. It was the vicarage cottage. That was massive. They lived in. They don't know, but actually, bless old Joss, he died last week. But they lived there, and he welcomed me in, and he looked exactly as he did in the movie. But I'd seen him in several movies. He always played the bad. He's always the bad guy because he had this very thick jaw and with a very deep voice, and he was great. And he was very humble, and he couldn't believe that I'd bothered coming that way, and he wanted to give me lots of money for photographing his sons. And I said, "Oh no, I don't want your money. I'm just happy to be photographing you." And his wife Rosemary, and it's that's the joy about my career. You meet someone mega famous, then you find their story, and they tell you theirs, and apparently. I won't go into too big a detail, but so they had 6 children, tiny babies. Then there was a house fire, and Rosemary, the wife, got the babies out of the house, apart from one baby that was in a room higher up. So Rosemary had to go up to the top floor, get the baby, and jump out of the window, and she broke her back, and then she was kind of disabled, but then for the rest of her life. And so when Rosemary, she was walking with a bit of a, and then they tell me the story about, and it's something I've never read anywhere. You find their stories, what make them human.
The babies were okay.
Yeah, everyone was okay, but Rosemary saved them all. Joss was away working. He was just shooting a film in Australia, I believe. But Rosemary saved the brood or the tribe. But she done it, but her being the heroine made her break her back. And so I met this lady who was walking with this limp, and then you hear the story about how and this has happened to me, I'd say over 100 times. You hear stories you never read anywhere. It's an actor's personal story over their circumstance that they'll keep quite private. But they, because it's just me there, there's no team, they feel, okay, I'll just tell you my story. Yeah. Anyway, that's it's lovely hearing the dynamic of how things are, but I guess it's when, to come back to your question about so Joss said yes. After all his no's, no. Joss said yes. I got to his house. I photographed the wedding. I photographed him being a bit tipsy after the wedding. That was a great photograph. Then they invited me to stay the night because it was a 6-hour drive home. So I stayed the night. The next morning, was all his 6 kids had then left, and their partners and their babies all left. And it was Rosemary, I and Joss at breakfast. And he was, how is this project going? I said, Joss, it isn't. You're the only person who bothered. And he said, I can tell you why. There is a reason. It was your letter. You didn't specify what you wanted. You said, can I photograph you? Can I do a portrait of you? For an actor, every actor needs a reason to do something, that they need a hook to do something. And they said, and he said, you need to reformulate your idea and have a hook why an actor should say yes. And okay, Joss, what do you recommend? He sat there with his pipe. After a few seconds of thinking, he went, why don't you do Who Shagged Who? I said, Joss, I don't think that's going to fly. I don't think that's going to take off. But luckily, at the time, the world dynamic of the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was starting.
Yes.
It was literally then, 1994, 5, that era. The 6 Degrees of where any actor can relate to Kevin Bacon do 6 film jumps. Yeah. That was the thing. And so I said to Joss, well, how about we kind of take your lovely idea and we kind of reword that to who is best friends of, who knows who. And well, I've just done a movie with Greta Scacchi. And Greta has a lovely person, and she was as glamorous, really. She was like the, who can I say? She was like the Beyonce of her day. She was like the uber glamorous, sexy human at the time. Yeah. And she'd done this movie with Joss called White Mischief that starred Charles Dance, Sarah Miles, John Hurt, and speckling of other very famous people. And he said, oh, yeah, so Greta played my wife, and we were good chums. He said, well, I'll call her now. He literally picked up the house phone, called her, and she was living in Bexhill. I said, oh, yeah, that's fine, we'll arrange something. And then he hung up the phone, and that shit was arranged. Not by a manager, or a publicist, or an agent. It was done. And I thought, there's legs in this. if people can contact people on my behalf, I'd miss that nonsense. So I then, in between Joss's shoot and Greta's shoot, I pre-programmed the entire new concept. So I got to Greta's house and I shot her and her gorgeous daughter Layla, who is this high. She's teeny weeny weeny. And literally, and the reason I'm saying that now is because Layla emailed me last week. She's now dating Ed Norton.
Oh goodness.
And so she's, oh yeah, I saw the picture with Mum and I when we were little, and so she's in my head, Layla. So anyway,
yeah.
So I got a shot of Greta, and then Greta and Layla together. And at the end of the shoot, and okay, so Greta, what I need from you need to recommend the next person to be photographed, and you need to arrange a photo shoot, please. So she then got her address book out and said, well, who do you want? Do you want this? And so then I stopped her at a specific point. I said, oh, that person would be amazing. The person, as I can't emphasize enough, there wasn't mobile phones there. It was usually house phones. You'd phone. If you were in your house, you couldn't get a phone call or an email. You had to be at home to get an answer phone message or a phone call. And so she done a house phone call to this next actor, and okay, I'm doing this project. I'm saying that you're going to be my next person. And literally, that is how. And so I spent 9 years doing that, and then I created a book called Degrees over each person's connection. They saw it from my point of view.
Yeah.
They saw it as an excited, young, chubby photographer.
I was going to say, this is like the dream scenario for anyone starting out.
Yeah, but literally, they saw it from my point of view. They saw it as, I'm someone on my road, on my path, and I'm relying on goodwill. That's what I'm relying on. I'm not relying on anything but people being nice to me. And literally, and yes, it obviously was a slow burner, but let's say, further down the line, I'd shot the lovely actor Alan Bates, and Alan Bates to me, I saw a lot of his stuff growing up, but he looked distinct. I know probably so many people don't know Alan Bates. I know people don't know Alan Bates anymore, but he looked bizarre. He had a bright white beard, really white, but jet black hair. Whenever he done a role, he'd dye it black or brown, but actually actually white with jet black hair. And now and again, see him in TV. There's a thing called the Accidental Tourist, where he kept his hair white and black. And he stuck out, and he was so interesting. And one of my connections, someone at some point said, hey, Alan Bates is going to be my thing. Oh, fantastic. And then I shot Alan, who's amazing. And his leap is to go, how about Pierce Brosnan? Do you want to do Pierce Brosnan? I've just done a thing called The Mothman Prophecy. I don't know where that came from. I've just done a movie called The Mothman Prophecy with lovely Piers. Do you want me to call Piers? Absolutely. But Piers was then doing a Bond movie. And he said, okay, because I'm with Eon Productions, he said, Andy, I've seen your work. You're amazing. I know your story. I want to do. He said, please don't overlook me. I want to do it, but I cannot physically do anything non-Eon Productions for 9 months. Whilst Bond's going on, I can't do any other interview, photograph, nothing. So literally, there's 9 months of waiting. So my project that was literally who knows who
had to wait
a block. And so that's why it took 9 years. But sometimes that happened a few times. I can't do it for 2 months. I can't do it for 3 months. I can't do it for 8 weeks. So that's why it took so long. But the project went on, and then some English actor, off the top of my head, I can't remember who, said, "Do you want to do Dustin Hoffman?" I couldn't have snapped his arm off quick enough. I'm a big graduate, Dustin fucking Hoffman. He said, yeah. He said, I said, me and Dustin go way back, and we speak weekly, and I'm pretty sure that if I give you the nod, then he'll say absolutely yes. I said, okay, please do. And it was all set in. And it was in the diary. Yeah. And it was going to be 4 weeks ahead. I thought, well, I can wait 4 weeks. And it was put in for September. It is in 2020 in September. And I was there on the 10th of September at my computer. Thinking, okay, my bags are packed. 10th of September, 2020, flying to New York tomorrow to do Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. And in the back of me there's a news flash. A plane's crashed into the Twin Towers the day before. So literally, I should have been flying over to New York that day on the 11th, on 9/11, and the shoot was going to be on the 12th. And so again, that because of 9/11 and Dustin Hoffman was going to be that connection, that was then put off for nearly a year because no one knew what was happening anywhere for a year. And then I had the shoot was then rearranged, doing Los Angeles instead of New York. Yeah. But then, you know, I got to LA and I shot Dustin. But I literally flew over just for Dustin. Yeah. I said this would have been, so it had been 2021 near Christmas-ish. I can remember it was 2000. It would have been 2001. 2001 it would have been. Yeah. Christmas. I flew over, and Dustin said, "Okay, I'm doing a movie, but it won't be out for a couple of years yet. But it's an amazing, it's an all-star cast. But I know anyone I suggest to you will say you can't shoot them for at least a year." He said, I know that. And at the time, because I had a year of doing nothing, it's like the COVID 2 years where I had nothing to do. It's like, well, fine. If there's a big name, I'll wait. I'll do other things for a year. I'll wait. And he gave me Brad Pitt as a name. But he knew Brad Pitt really, really well. And so done Brad, and it was literally just done Ocean's 11. Literally just done it. And it was good, and it was great, and it's something. It's wrote about my life. People just wouldn't believe it. Yeah. So I was shooting, as I said, this Brad shoot with Annie Leibovitz done the day before. And at the end of the shoot, it's me go, "Andy, this was amazing. This is such a fun shoot, just me and you. It's great. You're a lovely guy. I really want to help you. What can I do?" I said, "Well, if you can give me a big name for my book, the biggest name in your diary you've got, the biggest name." He went, "Andy, I've got quite a few big names in my book." I said, "Is there anyone specifically?" I said, "No." I said, "Brad, any what you would class as a big name, any of them." So he got out his phone. I went into the hallway. I heard laughing and joking in the hallway. Then he came in. He handed me the phone. "Hello?" And he went, "Andy, it's George Clooney. I'm in Lake Como. Do you want to come over and have the weekend here?" Yeah, I'll fly over on Friday. You can stay till Sunday. and then we'll fly you home again.
Yeah.
And I think that was the game changer, because then I was dealing with Hollywood then after. I got to Clooney's house. He was sitting on that very veranda having a coffee.
Yeah.
And so to welcome me, he was sitting there. So he beckoned me in, we had a coffee, had a hug. He said, thank you so much for coming over, and I've seen your work and it's all great. And he said, well, how about we do the shoot now, straight away, then we've got a couple of days of chilling out. Or would you prefer we do it later on? I was like, no, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Then we just chill out.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that whilst I'm all keyed up,
Yeah.
rather than thinking about what might happen. Okay. He said, what do you need? And I said, no, a plain white wall. He said, I'll find you a white wall. And then we moved into the kind of we walked through the bay windows into like the lounge area. There's sofas and stuff.
Yeah.
So we both sat on the sofa. And he rang us something, or he'd done us something, and the cook came in. And he said, can I have some brioche, please? I said, oh. And about 2 minutes later, brioche came in. I thought, oh, there's breakfast. but no, he got this brioche, picked it off and threw it on the floor. This bit of brioche thrown on the floor. Oh, I thought, well, that's odd. And all of a sudden, the wildlife from Lake Como, the ducks, came in, up the steps, waddled through his lounge, and started eating the brioche, because he used to feed the ducks in his lounge.
Yeah.
They'd come in. And he sat there, and there's about 4 or 5 quite plumpest ducks waddling
I'm
around.
surprised if they're eating brioche.
Eating brioche. And we sat there having coffees and talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, you want a white wall, do you? And yeah. It's a plain white wall. It's a plain white wall. Okay. He said, I think there's a room. I don't need to move artwork. I think there is a white plain wall in one of the bedrooms. How about you get your equipment from your car, bring it in, I'll go up and have a look.
Yeah.
Oh, fab, we high-fived. Great. So he went upstairs, I went to the car. I thought, okay, either this is 3 trips to and from the car, or I can do it all in one go. What do I do?
All in one
Well,
go.
I thought, I'm lazy.
Obviously.
So like a pack horse, I put all my bags on tripods and lights, and I walked up this veranda steps, through his bay windows, into his lounge, to the bottom of his stairs, turned the corner too quickly.
Yeah.
My tripod hit a bookshelf. The bookshelf wobbled, and encyclopedia, a big fat encyclopedia fell off, landed on a duck, squashed a duck. I picked it up, there's a spatchcock duck underneath. I thought, what do I do with a dead duck?
Oh my goodness.
And I was looking at thing, and I had this very plump duck in my hand, limp. What do I do? And I squashed it behind the sofa, put a cushion over it to hide the tail, and sat sweating on the sofa. At that moment in time, George's head appeared over the balustrade. I found that white wall, and there's a muffled on the sofa, a very dazed duck.
Oh my god.
Waddled out, and he went, what's George doing behind there? I said, pardon? He said, that's my pet duck, George. What's he doing behind your sofa? Behind the sofa? I don't know. I nearly killed George Clooney's favourite pet duck, George.
Did you tell him?
Afterwards.
Oh.
After I was back in England. If you think, I've had a 34-year career, I'd say 60% of the interesting things have happened in front of the camera. 40% of things have happened on the way to a shoot or after a shoot. So many things happen that makes me excited about my job.
Yeah.
It's not going click anymore.
No, it's the life around it.
It's the what might happen on the way, what conversation might happen. That's now the excitement. It's meeting brand new people who are A-list names, and what might happen.
I can just tell you've got a lifetime of anecdotes, anecdote after anecdote. But to just focus on you for a moment, has the journey of being this photographer, celebrity photographer, because that's what you are, has it always been has it been a straight path for you?
No. The path to the top of the hill isn't straight. Sometimes it's a little bit wiggly and wormy.
Most of the time, snakes and ladders, I call it.
And there are usually other ways to get to the summit rather than a straight path.
Yeah.
And so I'd say to any it doesn't have to be a photography student. It could be anyone who wants to, who are at the start of any journey, who see where they want to be, no matter what career it is. You have to make your own path. You can't follow someone else's footprint. You can't guarantee what worked for A will work for B. Yeah. That will never happen. No. You need to find your own route. And there always is a way forward. There always is a way. If you sit there in your bedroom one day, think, okay, I want to be that one day, there is a way there. But you have to find out your own way there. Yeah. You can't go online or Google how did that person do it. The guiding light is there is a way there. There is a route to where you want to, the apex where you want to be. There is a route there. You have to make your own route. You've got to tread your own furrow. You've got to make your own path there. And it isn't following someone else's footsteps. No. That is my advice.
Trust your gut.
That your dreams can be fulfilled, but you have to find your own path. Yeah. Don't go via someone else's path. Every single path you can think of has been closed off because it's been done, and because it's been done, publicists have seen their way in. That you need to find your own path. All it would take is something maybe. One day. There isn't a definite no. A maybe 90% of the time will turn into a yes. Yeah. All you need is a maybe. At one point, it might take a year, 5 years, but then once that one thing happens, that will be the start of a career. Yeah. And it won't be an overnight success. It will not be what people want now. And that's a killer, where I get all these emails all the time saying, okay, I want your career. What do I have to do? And my answer is, do it for 30 years, and then you'll get my career. There isn't a shortcut. Yeah. If you want to be me, do it for 30 years. Yeah. Like I've done it for 30 years. That's how you're me. Yeah. There isn't a shortcut. No. But if you want a career, put the time in and make it happen for you. Yeah. Life isn't a destination. It's the journey. Yes. And I'll give you an example. So, I was trying to photograph Clint Eastwood for 9 years. 9 years. And it's always in that. I wrote for him every month for 9 years. So 9/12 was that. So 9/12 is 70, so 80. So literally nearly 85 times I'd written to Clint Eastwood. And it's always a no. And then one day I shot Morgan Freeman. And he'd just done a movie called The Unforgiven with Clint, a cowboy movie with Richard Harris and all these amazing guys. And I shot Morgan. And at the end I said, Morgan, what is it with Clint not want to be photographed? He said, I'll tell you why. He said, it's an industry secret. I said, really? Tell me then. He said, he's 80% deaf. I said, what? What? He said, he's 80% deaf, and he doesn't like meeting new people who, if they're in a bag doing something, he can't see what they're saying. I'm not saying, my auntie's deaf. I know how to speak to someone who is profoundly deaf. I know Miss Eastwood has a bit of difficulty in hearing, but I do know how to stand, what to say. And I said, well, if he would just consider that I would know, and it was a handwritten letter, I post off, and I knew it'd be like a 5-day delivery to LA. Literally, on the 7th day, my phone rang, and it was about Passive Productions, and it's his assistant saying, thank you for the letter. Mr. Eastwood's hearing officer today, who's read your letter, and he's asked me to phone you up personally and say thank you for bothering to look at this, and absolutely, he will absolutely give you time. If you can drive to his house in Carmel, he's currently the mayor of Carmel. So if you and is in Carmel for a month doing mayoral duties, if you can go to his house in Carmel, he'll give you like an afternoon. Great. And she said, okay, so here's the road he lives on. So I wrote down. The houses are ranches. Okay. The ranches aren't named or numbered. So I'll describe to you what it looks like. So I was driving very slowly down this road. And I saw this old lady pruning a hedge. About 5 foot, the lady was. And I stopped next to her. Excuse me, I'm here for Mayor Eastwood. Do you know which ranch she is? Because I'm doing a photo shoot. Oh, I got some mail for the mayor. If you want, I can come in the car with you and I'll drive you to his house. This old lady got in the car. I don't know what to say. And we passed this old lady with an Afghan hound. She went, oh, toot your horn. I went, toot, toot. She went down the window. He's going to see Mayor Eastwood. Well, I'll come. So she got in the back of the car with the Afghan hound. So me, 2 old white-haired ladies and an Afghan hound pulled up at this ranch. Clint was on the foyer having a coffee. He beckoned us all in, he poured us coffees and got some water for the dog and everything. And it was all lovely. First old lady, little lady, got a handbag out, notepad. Mayor, trash collections on Tuesdays. It starts too early. It starts at 6:40 and I'm still in bed. It wakes up my dog, wakes up me, and I normally stay in bed till 8. Is there anything we can do to... okay. Next lady, trash collections, potholes. Literally, these 2 ladies were...
They saw their opportunity.
But good for Clint. He was in this notepad, making all his notes. And so 8:45 on Tuesdays. So your house number is pothole. 367. The potholes there. So so after an hour, so literally, then the conversation then changed to me. And he said, well, this guy's from London. They photographed me. So they started talking about me for about 40 minutes. Well, a lovely conversation, all of us. And it's lovely. And all these 2 ladies were both delightful. And it was lovely. It was a lovely meeting. And after about an hour, Clint said, okay, Andy, I know what I've given you this afternoon, but how about you go and be going to set up, and I'll get these ladies a taxi. So he called them an Uber, and I went in and set up. And I was completely set up because it took me like an hour to get back in. I was in my head in my hands saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I didn't mean this. And he sat there at his piano playing a bit of jazz. He went, that's fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I said, yeah, but I didn't. He said, one day, I wish I was as famous as either of those two ladies. I went, pardon?
Yeah.
Well, don't you know who they were? I said, your neighbours? He said, well, no, the short one was Doris Day, and the lady with the dog was Joan Fontaine, both Oscar winners. I had no idea. To me, there were two old ladies. So at one point in my life, I sat down at a table with 3 Oscar winners, not knowing who 2 of them were. And it was obviously Doris Day and Joan Fontaine, who won 2 Oscars in the 40s, 50s, then retired. Yes, but so my story is, it's not my destination was to shoot Clint Eastwood. No. My destination, but the journey to shoot Clint, I met Doris Day and Joan Fontaine about 2 years ago in West Hollywood, and it was a music-related photo thing. Yeah. And I photographed Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. And, I wouldn't say I'm Aerosmith's biggest fan, but there's a few, 3 or 4 songs, that absolutely that sticks in your brain.
Yeah.
And someone said, well, do you want to shoot Steven? Steven loves your work, and he said if you ever want to shoot him, he's up for it. So I shot Steven. And in my style, my unflattering, raw style, and I did this picture. And I blew it up, so it was about 6 foot high. And I'd done a 6 foot print. And I said to Stephen, okay, I've done this print of you. And it's going to be probably about a mile from your house. Do you want to pop over and just see this picture? And within 10 minutes, it was there. It literally got in the car and was there. And he looks at it for about 5 minutes. Didn't say a word to me. I mean, no eye contact with me at all. He just looked at this. He was looking in his own eyes at this portrait. Then he just walked off. And so I went straight to the bar. He was there, having a drink. And you could see him when crying. And I said, sorry, Stephen, so you saw the picture. He said, I can't believe what you've done. You've captured something in me I've never ever seen before. I've seen this sorrow in me that I've never known was there, but you've caught how I'm feeling at the moment. You've absolutely got as something. And he said, I want you to make me a promise. He said, you'll never sell that picture. He went, I want that picture to be for me. I want that to be my picture. That's mine, because I've looked at that and no one knows where I am at the moment, but that picture sums up exactly where I am. Stephen has a thing he does every year at the Grammys. So Elton John at the Oscars, like this weekend, Elton will do his Oscars viewing party. Yeah. So he'll have a venue with big screens everywhere. So people pay a fortune to go to watch the Oscars on this screen while being fed a meal, and then he'll do. Stephen did the same for the Grammys. Stephen has his party for the Grammys, and then they have a meal, a 5-course meal. Then there's a show, and they watch the Grammys. And he said, I do this event every year to raise money for abused girls. And I would like you to print 100 copies of that picture. You sign them, I will sign them, and we will sell them throughout the evening to raise money. And then we'll set up a photo booth at the event. Then someone can bid to have a photograph taken by you at the event that night, so they can walk away with a picture that you've taken that night, a one-of-one picture that night. Lot 1 was a Harley Davidson from 1972, rid by Jack Nicholson, that went for like $65,000. Yeah. Lot 2 was you and a party of 10. He has Richard Branson's Necker Island for a month.
For a month, jeez.
Okay, that only went for like $47,000.
Yeah.
Lot 3, you're flown by private jet from LA or wherever you are to Lille in France, driven to a vineyard. You create your own notes for your own champagne. You create your own champagne and have 100 bottles made for you and shipped to your home. Lot 3.
Yeah.
That went for $80-something thousand. Lot 4. Andy Gotts, ladies and gentlemen, live from London tonight. You could be the lucky person who's photographed, he's photographed people from Al Pacino to Meryl Streep to tonight you, a lucky bidder, tonight have your portrait taken tonight by Andy Gotts from London. And we start the bidding at $50,000. Anyone? $40,000. $30,000. Anyone? And I was sitting there, my heart sunk.
I bet.
And sunk. And then someone said $20,000. $30,000. 40, 50, 60.
Okay.
It got to $100,000. It was the biggest thing that night. And someone bid $100,000. And so there's this guy, this lovely black guy from San Francisco, he told me his entire life story of how he was a homeless black guy and how he turned his life around to make all his millions of pounds. And I thought, well, I've come over here over $100,000, $100,000 for abused girls. So I thought, that's amazing. And I gave myself a bit of a pat on the back. I thought, yeah, well. And the next week, the Janie's Fund, that's what it was, did a post about me saying, thank you, Andy Gotts, for coming and raising $1.4 million. And I emailed back straight away saying, you've made a massive typo. You need to correct that. And he said, no. He said, the night we made 4.6 million, but you being there made 1.2 million. He said, there's 100 photographs you and Stevens co-signed. We sold them all. So your contribution of selling 100 prints and the photo shoot in total raised $1.3 million.
That's incredible.
And I said, okay, so what does that actually mean to your foundation? And he says, well, Andy, look at it this way. 200 abused girls will not worry about being abused anymore. And then you think, well, if that's the only good thing I ever do in my life, that's the only good thing I ever do. There's pretty and so I mean I know I got my MBE in 2012 for raising $48 million for charity, £48 million for charity. So that was in 2012. So I think by now I'll probably eclipse £100 million in charity contributions throughout the world. I raised a story to link it all the way back to your first question Which comes down to having someone or being in a position where you're a no one and you're a student and you've gotten 20 no's for an answer. If I was a student then, if we put the clocks back to 1990 and I was getting all my no's, every single phone call, every letter was a no. No, thank you, but no. No. Everything was no. If I would have accepted that, this £100 million would never have been raised. So that is, if I can give anything forward to the next generation, it'd be have faith in yourself. If you believe you can do something, no matter if everyone in your life, whether your loved ones, your family, your parents, your partners, your management, your course lecturers, if everyone tells you you're wrong, don't do it, yeah. If you think you can do it, stick to you, stick to your gut. No one can tell you you're wrong. You know if you're right, you know if you're wrong. You have an inbuilt compass, you know. And if you think, actually, no matter what anyone tells me, I'm going to make it. This $100 million wouldn't be raised if it wasn't through me being obstinate. So,
it's a lovely way to do
that. Listen to your own heartbeat.
Yeah.
If your own heart tells you you can, it will work. You can make it work. It won't be overnight. It won't be. But if you believe that you've got the strength to see it through, that's the thing. If you think you can see it through, no matter how long it takes, if you can see what that thing inside you, no one can tell you you're wrong. No one can tell you don't do it. No one can say you've given it your best shot, go back to do whatever you've done before.
Thank you for listening. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. See you next time.